In this video, we're going to be talking about how you can successfully buy a property, whether it's investment property or your principal place of residence, in a hot market. I know so many of you are disappointed, you keep missing out, prices are increasing, you're frustrated, not being able to get that property that you really want. This video will tell you exactly how to do that 5 ways. So my name's PK, and I help people build passive income by buying properties that have a combination of positive cash flow and high growth without a buyer's agent, without dropping 15K on a buyer's agent, all over the country without having to catch flights, using data. All right, and if this video brings you value, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and that way the algorithm will send this video to more people. Now, let's get into it. I know so many buyer's agents who on YouTube, you know who they are. One starts with R, one starts with N. I'm not going to defame them or anything like that, but you know what I mean. They always talk about fluff. They give you just enough information so that you don't actually know enough, and then you think you need to engage their services. In this video, I'm going to be exposing exactly how buyer's agents operate when buying in a hot market, so you can do that too. I know the spiel these days is that it's such a hot market. Every week you're sitting on the sidelines, you're missing out on growth. Why not engage your buyer's agent? You don't need to do that. These 5 hacks will significantly improve your chances and basically allow you to become your own buyer's agent when buying in a hot market. So let's get in there. So many of you are disappointed, right? You've maybe been looking for properties for 3 months, for 6 months, for 9 months. The properties keep going for more than what you expected. The properties keep just out of your reach. The prices keep going up. There's so many bidders. The agents aren't returning your calls. These are some common pitfalls. Let's go through 5 pitfalls, and I'm going to tell you some information that may well get you the next property that you want next Saturday. All right, so the first problem, or the first thing so many people come to me saying, this is a problem, is that they're overlooked by agents. Now, agents, they make hay when it rains. All right, right now it is a seller's market basically in all parts of Australia. So agents, and you can't blame them, they don't necessarily return calls. Like, agents aren't necessarily there to play for you, to bid for you, to be on your side. They're on the vendor's side, the selling side. So when you're a buyer and you're trying to buy a property and the agent isn't returning your calls, what do you do? Okay, so one of the things that I teach in the Property Investment Accelerator, and one of the things that you need to understand, is that agents need to be pursued aggressively. And the best way to pursue them aggressively is not through aggressive tactics, but by letting them know that you are serious. Okay, so I've even had clients of mine go as far as to take a screenshot of their pre-approval and send it to the agent. So when the agent receives it, they know that this person is ready to go. At the end of the day, when there's like 5 or 10 bids on the table for a property, although it's strictly speaking not legal, it's really up to the agent which one they accept. They can, well within their rights, to reject a higher offer just because they didn't like that potential bidder or that person that was putting that offer on and off auctions. Okay, so if you're sort of thinking, agents aren't taking me seriously, send them a screenshot of your pre-approval. Tell them that you are ready to buy tomorrow. All right? And if you can go unconditional, subject to your broker saying that's okay, subject to you being okay in terms of the due diligence of the property, then even better. The more the agents know that it is a quick deal for them if they sell the property to you, the more they're inclined to return your calls, the more they're inclined to like you. You want the agents to like you because the agents hold all the power. I'm talking selling agents here. They hold all the power, and you can build those relationships. At the end of the day, they're humans, and it's a human-to-human interaction. Doesn't have to be face-to-face, doesn't have to be by handshake. All can be done remotely by phone call and email, but the more you show them that they will get that commission by selling the property to you very easily, the more they will sell you that property. Okay, number 2, overwhelmed by the competition. Now, so many of you are saying, look, the suburb that I want to invest in, the suburb that I want to buy in, there's just so much competition. I'm just getting outbid. I'm getting outbid. I'm getting outbid. It's just incredibly hard. If you are an investor, I would highly, highly urge you use the data not necessarily to pick the hottest suburb to invest in, but use the data to pick the suburb that might be an 8 out of 10 right now. May not be a 10 out of 10, might be an 8 out of 10. And so if you become a borderless investor, like I know in Adelaide, Northern Adelaide is very, very hot right now, and you might be saying, that is where I want to invest. But then you could also say, okay, well, what about this particular region in New South Wales? Let's call it Bathurst. I'm not saying that you should invest in Bathurst or in this pocket of Perth or this pocket of Brisbane that may be slightly cooler. It will still become a 10 out of 10 suburb in 3 or 4 months' time, but use the data, days on market, stock on market, building approvals, job advertisements, etc., etc. Use the data to find a market that's not quite as hot. And when I say market, I mean suburb. And so in that way, you won't be overwhelmed by competition, because when you go to that other suburb, it'll be relatively cooler, okay? And that's a trick in buying really well in this kind of environment. Still, even though 96% of suburbs in Australia are going up in value, there are still some suburbs that are hotter and some that are cooler. All right. Number 3, you guys are saying that, look, I've missed out on this suburb, this property. Now I'm going to completely change my brief. I'm going to completely change my criteria and look in another state or another suburb or another price point, or I'm going to go for an apartment or a townhouse instead of a house. You keep changing the criteria. You keep changing what you want to buy. Look, it will take you a month, it will take you 2 months to buy a property, regardless of whether you go with a buyer's agent or not, right? So stick to your top 2 or 3 suburbs, stick to your criteria. Even though I just said before that you should go to a cooler market, go to a cooler market to start with, all right? And then persevere. Persevere. It doesn't help anyone if you pick a market or pick a suburb, I should say, or a cluster of suburbs for 2 weeks, become overwhelmed, say it's all too hard, and then you pick another cluster of suburbs, and then after 2 weeks you give up, and another, you need to become a relative area expert. That doesn't mean you need to visit the area. Everything can be done remotely using the data, but persevere, be persistent, develop those relationships with agents. That's what buyer's agents do as well. They hop on the phone every Monday to an agent saying, hey, I have this criteria, you got anything for me? I'm an easy buy. That's what you can do as well. And that's what I teach people how to do specifically and strategically in the Property Investment Accelerator. But you can do it too. Give it a go. Agents are humans. If you're polite, nice, and attractive to them, in other words, you're able to say, I can buy a property just like that, they will send you properties as well, not just buyer's agents, 100%. We probably bought 60% of Property Investment Accelerator clients, about 60% off market. Of course, we don't use buyer's agents. All right, so number 4, so many of you start being outbid. You think that the property will go for 300,000, ends up going for 400,000. You think the property will go for 800,000, ends up going for $1 million. You think that price guides are just a joke. All right. So you think that on Real Estate Domain, what the real estate agent has said that this will be the price range, or offers above or offers between, you start to think that they're a joke because they're completely divorced from reality. You're right. They are a joke. And so in a hot market, completely ignore them. Value the property yourself. That doesn't mean that you hop on propertybuyer.com.au or you hop on real estate or go to a bank website and see what the valuation of a property is. All those websites, all these online bank valuation tools, they use comparables from 6 months ago, 12 months ago. They will be wrong. You will think that the property with high confidence is worth 500 and it will end up being sold for 600. You need to value yourself. And I've done other videos on this. Get the last 2 months or 3 months of comparables. The more recent, the better. Similar properties, see what they went for. Do that work yourself. Actually doesn't take very long. Sold section of realestate.com. Spend 10 minutes there. That will give you a big leg up. Completely ignore the so-called listing price. All right, number 5, underwhelmed with stock. A lot of you are saying, I've done all this data analysis to get my suburbs down to my top 2, my top 3, but there's just not anything for sale in that suburb. Now, there's not much we can do about that, right? There's a record low level of listings in Australia. It's starting to edge up a little bit, but it's like a 10, 20-year low. Now, what you can do about that to a large extent is be super, super, super aggressive, not in a mean way, but in a proactive way when something does come up. All right, so let's say the ideal property hasn't come up, so maybe you're looking for a three-bedder in a particular suburb, no power lines, rectangular shaped block in a particular part of the suburb where it's a quieter street. There's about 30 factors that we look at in terms of selecting where within the suburb to buy. But let's say you've got a specific criteria. When that property comes up, snap it up, grab it, be like a piranha. And you've already valued it, right? And you've valued it not based on online bank valuations, but your own more scientific approach and index. If the price of the suburb is going up $20,000 a fortnight, then take your valuation, add $20,000 or maybe add $25,000. Be super, super, super aggressive. Tell the agent, call them, say, I'm going to put an offer on today. I'm going to make it unconditional based on finance if you can. I'm going to make it unconditional based on building and pest if you can, if you've, using the cooling off period or other clauses that we teach in the Property Investment Accelerator. If you're able to be super, super aggressive and tell the agent, this is my one, get it to me off market or get it to me before the first open home, I'll seal the deal. Be very confident in your dealings. And once again, doesn't have to be face to face. Everything can be done over the phone, over email. Just snap it up, like your life depended on it. That is the way to be successful even in an environment where listings are very low. Don't be docile. Don't negotiate. That's the other thing, right? You can't try to get a 10% discount in a hot market, in a hot suburb. You can't get a 5% discount. If price is going up 20K every fortnight, then buying at the valuation is good enough. You're going to make money in the short term anyway. All right, so hopefully that helps. So the 5 things were you were overlooked by agents. I told you how to get on their good side. The second thing was you're overwhelmed by competition. I told you to go in a relatively cooler suburb that's about to become very hot. Use the data to do that. Number 3 is that you keep changing your criteria because you give up. Don't do that. Persevere. Number 4, you think that price guides are a joke. They are a joke. All right, so you need to manage and value this property yourself. Use indexing. And number 5, underwhelmed with stock. Yes, we can't do anything about that. The number of properties for sale in a particular suburb is out of our control. But what you can do is you can be very, very, very clinical in the execution by learning advanced valuation, negotiation, agent relationships, agent dealings. Everyone thinks it's about where to buy. If I do a video here on YouTube that says this is the next hotspot, I'll probably get 10,000 views. Hardly anyone pays enough attention to how you should buy. All right, this video is not going to get 10,000 views, but this is arguably as important. All right, because if you select the best suburb, you can't actually execute, it's a bit useless. All right, guys, so this is a bit of a deeper dive video. It's more about the practicality, the street smarts of property investing. There's no one else on YouTube that is making videos like this because everyone else is trying to sell you a $15,000 buyer's agency service so they will do it for you. I want to try to empower you. You can do it yourself. Every month, dozens of my clients are doing it themselves. You don't need to become my client. You can try to do it yourself. But if you can't, then I'll leave a link below. Property Investment Accelerator. You can find out more. Guys, if this video brought you some value, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, hit the like button, tag someone, share it. So someone else, I know there are literally hundreds of thousands of people in the boat that are experiencing these 5 problems. I know there is, so tag someone who will benefit from this video, and I wish you all the best. Tell me if this was helpful, leave a yes below, and then I'll give you more practical videos, a how of property investing. Guys, my name's PK, and I wish you all the best in your property investment and your principal place of residence purchases.